It's alright.
Oh my god!
Yo guys, what is up? Max from Borderlands 3 video, and today we are talking about Molotov Moze, my new Moze build that uses some new stuff in the 4 skill tree to do some of the stupidest damage we've ever been able to do on Moze. Real quick before we get into the video, we are doing a giveaway for a Borderlands Arc 8 t-shirt. If you want to win the giveaway, all you gotta do is drop a comment on the video and be subscribed. And with that, guys, let's get right into it. Alright guys, so showing on screen right now is the skill tree for Molotov Moze. Now, we're going to do a little overview of the skill tree and then we'll get into the gear. Now, the skill tree is all about, for the most part, bonus incendiary damage. Now, I am rocking a Rocketeer class mod with 5 into Skegden. This is not needed. As long as you have a Rocketeer with some points into Skegden, you are going to be just fine. Now, my current setup with Big Surplus and with points into fire in the Skegden on any damage source I do, whether it be melee, whether it be grenade throws, whether it be shots from my guns, every single action that I do is going to get 1,395% bonus incendiary damage. That is before we even take into account the 30% damage, incendiary damage increase we get from Stoke the Embers. 1,395% bonus incendiary damage. That is insane. Now, that is Big Surplus plus Fire in the Skegden, and doesn't even take into account things like Short Fuse, which are going to scale. The Short Fuse proc gets Mayhem scaling. Fire in the Skegden bonus and Big Surplus bonus will scale off of the damage that Short Fuse procs. Short Fuse procs on the first shot of our gun whenever we spawn in. So if we spawn in to shoot a boss, the first shot that we get is going to get Fire in the Skegden, Short Fuse, and Big Surplus, and all of that damage will get multiplied if we hold a 390. That is how you could basically one-shot any enemy in the game with any weapon that has 390 anoint. Now, this damage is crazy. It's a lot of damage. You guys know we like damage here. And we're going to be focusing on keeping up the uptime of our damage as much as we can. Now, the uptime of our damage, interestingly enough, is when our action skill is cooling down. That is the main reason we're using the Rocketeer class mod. The Rocketeer reads, Auto Bear now lasts the rest of the duration that Iron Bear had left if Moze gets out early, removes any refunded cooldown for exiting early. With this, we're going to pop into our Iron Bear, we exit, and now our Iron Bear has its full cooldown. And I personally don't love jumping in and out of Iron Bear. However, I did a little thing where I went and turned off Topped Off, which is crazy cooldown regen, so that now I will have the full duration of Iron Bear, and I'm going to be getting, while Iron Bear is out and Auto Bear, Iron Bear itself will do a ton of damage and will shoot things for me, so I get all of the damage that Iron Bear will be doing, and I'm going to get Big Surplus for a very long time in addition to all of our other bonuses. That is the overall core of this build, and kind of the consensus of what we're doing here. We have a long cooldown of Iron Bear. We get out of Iron Bear. Iron Bear can kill things. We can kill things. And we're going to maintain our damage for as long as possible. Now, there's not too much to explain here besides, like, for example, I didn't need to get Grizzled because I'm not prioritizing getting back into Iron Bear. We're not using ASE anoints. We'll talk about that in a second. Experimental Munitions, I didn't pick this up because it's only plus 15% bonus damage. Incendiary and the Iron Bear, while an Auto Bear isn't going to really hit any crits. You can pick this up. It's so insignificant amount of damage compared to our other fire damage that we can spec on other things. But Drowning in Brass Support and Armored Infantry, really nice. Green Tree, we went Green Tree for a few reasons. One, and probably the most important thing is so we don't reload. I tried and went Fired Up, and when I went Fired Up and I lost a lot of my points in my Green Tree, I was reloading and it feels like a sin to reload on Moze. I don't like doing it. So that is why I spec'd into Green Tree. In Green Tree, we get Scorching RPMs, we get Iron Bank, we get Specialist Bear, so that our Iron Bear, when we do Auto Bear, if you like Auto Bear on the bridge, in Takedown or Auto Bear near Wotan, your Iron Bear will be doing a ton of damage. Some for the road, anytime I make a Moze build, if I don't spec some for the road, someone gets angry at me. So some for the road for any of the rocket launcher spam that you'd like to do, Russian offensive so we can heal, Stoke the Embers for incendiary damage, redistribution for some ammo regen, Scrappy so we can mode swap, and for augments on Iron Bear, you can use whatever you want. Whatever you feel like it. If you want to use some of the railguns, some of the nukes, target softening, it is really up to you. Anything works here. Now, for the gear, we're mainly going to be using consecutive hits. Consecutive hits is the main anointment for our guns and our gear. The flipper is still one of the best in-slot weapons, and I still think the flipper is probably the best bossing SMG. But for mobbing, I really have been liking the plasma coil. I have a consecutive hits one. The boss kills that I was doing with 200 were with 200 splash. So I wanted to show you guys that for bossing, 200 splash is just going to be better. You hop out of Iron Bear, you're going to get big surplus. You're going to get that splash bonus. But for the most part, consecutive hits for mobbing, running around is just going to be easier because we're not going to be jumping in and out of Iron Bear. Our Iron Bear is going to be deployed. It's going to be gone for a long time, and we'll be able to freely roam around and do a ton of damage. The next big weapons to talk about are the Boogeymans. These weapons are Vladov sniper rifles that do splash damage, which is crazy. So them doing splash damage allows them to get big surplus and fire in the Skegden. They already have a mechanic where you don't need to reload with them, and you can just spam this thing infinitely. It's pretty crazy, and with any sort of ammo regen, you're never going to have to reload these things ever, which is very, very, very nice. You could get away with using other things with Fired Up. However, when I found that I spec'd Fired Up here, I was having to reload my Boogeymans, which I didn't like doing. Other good weapons here are the Beacon. The Beacon is extremely strong. The Plasma Coil, like I said, is crazy strong. Next two mags is also really good anoint to work because you're never going to have to reload, and next two mags will stay up for forever. And then all of your other Moze culprits, your Plague Bears, your Ion Cannons, your Backburners, anything that does splash will work well with this. New highlight, the Trevinator works extremely well with this. The Flacker works extremely well. Sandhawk does splash damage. That works extremely well. This build is very, very versatile. I don't want to try to pigeonhole it into like one or two weapons. Anything that is splash damage is going to be great on this build. I have been primarily using the Plasma Coil and the Boogeymans though. And then the shield setup, Old God for incendiary damage, just the classic. We're just going to increase that plus 20% incendiary damage to give us even more incendiary damage. Cloning Mining Tracker with on grenade throw, because we're not relying on ASC annoyance. Being able to throw a grenade, which will full heal us with Vampire, and will proc this on grenade throw annoyance really, really strong. And then I've switched out the a Snowdrift Victory Rush. Now, I have a God rolled Snowdrift Victory Rush. It's between this and the Pearl. If you don't have a good Snowdrift Victory Rush, I recommend taking the Pearl. But I play on Mayhem 11 is the big difference now, and I'm not playing on Mayhem 10. Playing on Mayhem 11 is a godsend for Moze because there's so many annoying modifiers to play with that Moze would just kill herself on. However, we lost that movement speed. I like having movement speed. I really, really do. So I use a Snowdrift Victory Rush now. The Pearl is also great, but that area of effect damage is going to be amazing if you can get one. It's going to boost all of our damage, and then on top of that, I'm racking incendiary damage magazine size. This is perfect. This is exactly what I would want. The Rocketeer isn't the greatest thing. The plus 5 Skag Den is ridiculous in the splash damage, but we don't really care about action skill damage. And yeah, guys, that is it. That is it for the build. I wanted to keep this one short because there's not too much to explain besides big surplus and not having any guard or taking out points. Turning off topped off, and then we can run around. For bossing, I messed around with this. I either will use a Blastmaster or a Rocketeer. The Blastmaster can still do a little bit more damage on single shot with like an ion cannon, for example. If you give the splash damage the time to charge up, that requires you waiting a little bit to charge up, and then you just can't farm as quickly. You can also use a Minesweeper, pretty flexible, but for the most part, rocking the Rocketeer. Blastmaster is a really, really good choice. You don't have to change anything to rock the Blastmaster, to be honest. Like, you literally just put it on and you're good to go. However, you are going to run into the issue of having Iron Bear up and having to spam it more often. So if you don't want to hop in and out of Iron Bear at all, use the Rocketeer, and if you're okay with jumping in and out, use the Blastmaster. The Blastmaster is arguably the strongest class mod in the game for Moze, but I wanted to try something new. It's part of the reason why I named this build Molotov Moze. I will catch y'all in the next one. I don't mean to take too long, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace!